This was the episode that we got to hear an awesome quote from Rick Grimes. I'll be back in just a second. What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and we are bringing you another episode of the Walking Dead reviews. Obviously, I don't know what gameplay this is because I usually put the gameplay on after, but the gameplay doesn't really pertain to anything about what this series is. Of course, as always, we have pictures on here to show off what I'm trying to talk about and explain, because otherwise, you wouldn't really know, or, it'd get kind of confusing just listening to my voice. But I wanted to do a review. Obviously, I do a review every week, so if you do enjoy this series and enjoy the upcoming episodes and everything else that I do on my channel, subscribe for more, and we're going to get into it. So it wasn't like one of the most giant episodes yet in the Walking Dead series. It wasn't like, last week's episode where, Tyrese got bit. Spoilers, if, whatever. I'm not going to even warn you anymore. You know that this has spoilers on it. It wasn't that as big of an episode as that was, because that was just insane when that first, when that came out last week. It totally blew me away. I wasn't even expecting that kind of thing to happen. But, so, this episode, we get to see kind of the end result of what Sasha is going through, because, as you know, Sasha and Maggie are having a hard time now. Of course, we'll start off with Sasha first, because she seems to be going crazy. She's like, first off, she knew Beth, but she didn't know her like that well, but she saw Beth die. That was very devastating, of course. And then only a couple weeks later, her own relative died, her own brother, the one that's been there basically from the start in season 3 is what we saw, but obviously from the start of the complete time that they were alive, and now both of those people are gone. She's basically like turning into, just something else in general. She's just becoming like a different person, as we can tell here. Towards the end of the episode, it kind of cleans up a bit. Both them and Maggie, they get a little bit better. They can start seeing, what things are. We're going to talk about Rick Grimes' quote as well, but that was at the end of the episode, so we'll get there. Father Gabriel, as we can see in this episode, when he first came in, I was kind of skeptical on him. No one really knew him. People were just like, just who cares about Father Gabriel? He didn't do anything per se bad to the groups, so, he seems to be fine as for now. He seems to just, in general, just try and help out the group, get along or get through their times along the way. He also, I don't want to say that he just doesn't care about his religious side anymore, but as we can see within the episode, they're in Georgia, obviously, if you didn't know. It's really hot down there, especially probably during this time, because you could see even on everyone's skin and face that they were like sweating in the sun, but he's wearing his, priest religious black suit-ish type of thing. And, that's obviously got to be hot because it's all in black. It's just, it would get really hot in there. And we could see towards, like, the middle parts of the episode, he starts, taking off certain things of his clothing just to make himself more comfortable. It's not that he doesn't care. It's just that he's just realizing, what it takes, what he needs to just, it just happened in the moment. It's just like, oh, it's really hot, He's not going to wear something that wouldn't make him feel cooler or anything like that. He wants to, it's just basically survival now coming down to at this point. Daryl, we even see becoming a different person, jumping to another character. Daryl, he is like, still he's devastated by Beth's death. It's like he completely changed from the last episode that we saw him in, which was the Coda, and then now it's just like, at the beginning of this episode and throughout this episode until the end, it was just like, wow, it really took an impact on him because he really cared about her, and just to see, Beth die in front of Daryl, it was just really devastating. And now we're going to talk about Maggie, because she, comes in, obviously she lost her sister. She really has no one left, or she actually does have no one left except Glenn, because obviously they got married in I think it was season 3, I want to say. It might have been season 4. I can't honestly remember, trying to think back, but I think it was in season 3. obviously that, but no one of relative, meaning, like her father died in season 4, Herschel, or now her sisters did. She's basically the only one left, and she feels that she doesn't want to continue on anymore, she just wants to be left alone. She doesn't know what she wants, and, Glenn is trying to cheer her up throughout the episode. He's just like, I'll give you, here, take some water. I want you to have water. He even tries to get Daryl to drink water. It's just like, Glenn's trying to keep the spirits up. And, Maggie's just having a tough time, and I could understand that, it's not like she's being mean or anything like that. She just, if you lost 2 people that you really cared about, and maybe not at the same exact time, but you just have no one left, you're not gonna just, walk down the street and be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll just have some water. Oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that. You're just gonna, you just don't even know what to do. At that point, you just don't even know what to do. So that's why her and Sasha kind of like go together in this feeling alone type of thing. Also, along the episode, we get to see these, dogs come in, and at first I was like, oh god, this is not going to end well, and then Sasha just whips out her gun and just freaking, like, guns them down. I was like, whoa. At first I was like, whoa, she just killed dogs, and I was like, well, they have to survive, we're not thinking in terms of, 2015 here, regular human life, we're thinking in terms of survival of the fittest, so it was best that she actually did that. I mean, not to say that I don't like killing dogs, I have 2 dogs myself, but it's just what had to be done. And then, because they have to eat, obviously, it's just survival out there now. They have to survive any way they can. They were probably going to end up doing that either way, if it went down in a gory matter, or if Sasha took them out anyways. But, we got to see that. And then towards the end of the episode, here's where Rick, makes his, like, quote, how he was he made this statement of, like, talking to his grandfather about, killing the Germans in World War II, and did any kill him and stuff like that. And then basically the main quote is, this is what we do to survive. We do what we can to survive. That whole kind of general idea. And right at that moment, Maggie, Sasha, Daryl, they all, can see that. And, at first, because Rick says that they're the Walking Dead, and Daryl's like, no, we're not like them, and whatever. But, they could see that, we can do what we need to do to survive, and we'll do what we need to do to survive. So they kind of pull themselves together. They're in this barn after this giant, storm hits. They were lucky, actually, that the storm hit, because, they were really desperate. They needed water. They probably haven't even seen water in a while, judging by the way that looked, how they were so excited to see water. Just simple things as that is just water, I mean, most people are afraid to just go out into the rain, and there they are just standing there, in general. And it's like amazing how you could think about that, how a necessity such as water is become so important, and it still is important even in our lives today. Just water is just so important. But yeah, so literally, like, up to the last minute now, you're getting into a random stranger comes by, because I think it's Maggie and Sasha. They are talking, they're working together, they're looking at this sunshine coming up, and this random stranger comes by and asks to talk to Rick, and it just kind of like ends there. And in the previews we get to see, in a minute I'll talk about the previews, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but in that moment, it's like, well, how does he know Rick? Who is this person? I mean, it's just, I've never even seen him before. There's no trace, it's not like he looks like a character that we've seen before. He looks completely new. He just happens to know Rick. He just wants to ask him a few questions. I mean, he seems like he could be like another like enemy, because as now we're getting into the previews of the next episode, we can see that Rick says something about this is a trap, or because they're still planning to go to Washington, and we don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, this person could completely change him in a different opposite direction depending on what that happens in the next episode, or it could go different ways. But apparently it looks like something bad is about to happen, and that's really it. in general about this episode called Them, just one word. Last week's episode was a really long name. This week's episode is just Them. That's it. But if you have any comments on what you think about the episode, leave them below. Like the video if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more content like this. I thought that this episode was a really good episode, especially with Rick's quote in there. It wasn't obviously the most fast-paced episode, but, you know, people get fed up and think that every episode has to be like that, and this episode was really like trying to pull the strengths together, and that's what we basically have here. So I really did enjoy the episode, but like I said again, leave a comment below on what you think about that if you did watch and enjoy, and I will see you on whatever my next video happens to be. I'm Ninja Geek. I'm out. Peace.